host, Steve from the back, as always. I guess this is gonna be another cryptid rant, like kind of cryptozoology rant. So I was watching a couple of videos, right? And I was watching this. Well, I guess you could call it a short series. I was watching this series. And this series was talking about, like, war with the Dogman, right? Now, if you're not familiar with what the Dogman is, then you know, I guess you just probably do your research. But I guess it was on the Cryptid Brothers channel, and like, this military guy that basically is tasked with staying at a tower, like a watchtower. And not only is he at a watchtower, but the area that he's in, there are protected people. And not only protected people, but there's, how do I say this? There's like a perimeter to where if anything goes past a certain line, they have permission to kill it, right? Even if it's a person, it could be someone just like you or me, just walk past that line. And basically, they have permission and license to shoot you on sight. So it's a really weird thing, right? It's a very intense, very weird thing going on. But obviously, if you listen to the stories, and you should probably go watch the video. It's on the Cryptid Brothers channel. I think it has maybe like 5 episodes to it, 5 parts to it, or whatever. And it's pretty strange because when he the way he talks about it, it makes me think that, like, obviously these dogmen have been in this area for so long. It's a well-known fact that they're in this area. People know. It's almost like they're, I dare say, part of the community. Like, I mean, anything is part of a community, but they really seem to me like they're part of that community. You know, they're just another family living in that area. That's what they really, how I look at it, that's what they really are. You know, there's another family living in that area, and people just have interactions with them. Sometimes not good, sometimes good. And in my opinion, these things are kind of, to me, they sound like big bullies. These are just some big ass bullies. And when I say big, I mean huge. These things are just a person is no comparison to one of these type of dog-man creatures. So, you know, what I always find interesting, and I was watching this, it was like I guess it was a long video, but it was this African guy talking about alien species. And now I noticed a strange thing, right? I noticed how do I say this? Oh, a lot of these beings he describes sound like a lot of cryptids, honestly. Especially certain ones, like, he was talking about like a moth looking like one. And I'm thinking that, to me, that reminds me of the, there was like a sighting where someone described it as a gargoyle or something. And I think this happened in somewhere where there was like, I can't remember if it was police or military or something. And there were dog killings for whatever reason. And when these I think it was a dog or dogs went missing, at some point they sighted this thing. And oddly enough, for whatever reason, it had a cape on. You know, which is you know, I don't know, but I don't get it, but it is what it is. You know, some of these cryptids actually do wear clothes, oddly enough, sometimes. Robes, capes, cloaks, just like people. You know, I don't know. But the thing is, what I'm realizing is a lot of these cryptids, or ETs are very evolved, right? They're very enlightened. Now, they may be anthropomorphic or whatever, but they are very more evolved mentally than us. They just are. How or why? I don't really understand how or why, but they are. So it's just, I'm just saying that to say in the same breath that, a lot of this whole thing about like people being so um, always jumping to the conclusion that these beings are hostile isn't, I've always said this, it's not a smart move. I would think that us as people are more hostile most of the time than cryptids and ETs are. I myself will admit, as a person, as a human being, I'm more hostile than probably any damn creature that you would run into. Because I just don't trust people for nothing. You know what I mean? So I automatically am gonna be hostile and aggressive. You know, that's just the way I am. Someone will say, "Oh, maybe you seem like a nice guy." Yeah, it depends. You know what I mean? It depends on the context of why I would be being a nice, peaceful person, right? Like anything else, or like any other being. Like that's just how things just work. But what I have to say was, I've always known this, but things like people that have had encounters with these things always confirm it. I always have said to people, don't project like fear, don't project hatred or disdain and all that stuff. All that, I'm telling you, if you they can, I don't know how they can sense that. I don't know understand how, but they clearly can sense that. They can sense that type of energy, and it usually never ends well for the person that is projecting that. It just never seems. I mean, sometimes they'll just run away. Sometimes they'll just literally run away. Like they'll just leave because I guess that's the decision they're making or whatever. But often it ends like brutally. You know what I mean? It's like they lash out and attack or harm someone because you came at them with like aggression or fear or what they thought was aggression or whatever. It's just not a pretty thing, and it shouldn't be happening. It should People should be more calm. People should be more enlightened. People should just be more like understanding of that fact, so they know to calm down and just observe. Which I think that to a degree, a lot of these people that are dealing with these dogmen, they kind of get that to a small. I feel like they really don't grasp it, but they kind of are grasping a small aspect of that concept. I think it's like and I'll give them this. It's hard for them because the dogmen in particular, I will admit, are very just they are generally kind of like hostile and aggressive. I don't know why they are. I mean, you would think if you were that just powerful physically that you don't think that you would be so aggressive, because you think you would just be like, okay, like you don't really have to be that threatening. But then on the same coin, you also realize, like I said, if a lot of these type of creatures just approach someone calmly, generally a person, if they had a firearm, would literally just without thinking shoot, because they're so intimidated they're already shooting. So you're already attacking or fatally wounding something that wasn't even aggressive yet. It's kind of like when they see a huge animal, and they're like, oh my god, I have kids with me, like, and then they just decide we're gonna have to shoot this thing because if it even charges anybody, it's not only gonna kill us, but it's gonna kill the kids too. It's gonna kill everybody. We're not stopping this thing. It might die later, but we're not stopping its momentum. You know what I mean? Like, just because you shoot something doesn't mean that it just drops. You could shoot something, it charges, rips your whole throat out, kills the next person next to you, goes off somewhere and then dies, right? Like a bear, it could do that in seconds. You know what I mean? It does. They don't always just drop. They just don't. You know what I mean? Just saying. And a lot of these creatures in particular, these dogmen people talk about, they rarely ever just drop. Shot multiple times. They just don't. Because they're just powerful, I guess. You know, they're that powerful. But I think I'm gonna cut the rant. Just cut it here. Um, because I'm just trying to make a point. A point I'm trying to make. The point I'm really trying to make at the end of the day with these type of videos, when I make these type of videos, I'm trying to explain to people like that. If you're in the cryptozoology like community or whatever, I always call it a community because I just call it people that just know about this and believe in this stuff like myself that know about this stuff. You know, not everyone thinks the same way or whatever, and I guess I'm not gonna say that's okay or fine, but I mean, it just is what it is. But I'm trying to hit home the fact of don't. I'm telling you, you need to start training yourself not to like just freak out about things, and you need to learn how to be cautious, but do not. I'm gonna say this again. Do not be projecting like fear, disdain, hatred. Don't get all. Don't even get on that whole spiritual. I know Christians a lot of times they think they're gonna like, pray at something, and I was laughing earlier because I'm thinking like when people start praying and they think that they're gonna speak in tongues and drive away a being because they're afraid of it. I almost look at that like it's almost like you're cursing someone out in Christian. You get my drift or my joke. You get what I'm saying, right? It's like you can't be. Now it may end okay for you. I don't know. I've seen a video where I think I saw clearly they were calling it, a rake creature or whatever. They were saying it was a pale crawler or whatever, which I think it was. But whatever reason, this Christian priest or whatever you want to call him or minister or whatever, he starts speaking in tongues and he starts praying, and you could literally see this thing start to like convulse and start to backtrack from this guy's screen door. I think they call it a sunroom or something, and it starts back. And I think it was totally a real video. If you watch this video, I forgot the guy's name. I think it's like Mike something, but I really think that was a real cryptid because it did not look right. When I say right, I mean like it did not look like humanly proportioned right. The hands looked too long. The way when it would hold its arms up and how the hands just like dang, like an orangutan's hand has that long drapey. You know how long their fingers and their hands are when it's that drapey, like when you put your hand like this, their hands just look like they just drape. They just, they just, like, that's not a human hand, you know what I mean? Like, if someone thinks that video is a fake, I really think that you don't have an eye for, like, anatomy, and you can't really, even though it was blurry and choppy, like, when you put like, for instance, when you get down on the floor, and you crouch, right? And you put your leg in a position where it's bent, your foot, like, you don't have so much length between like your the start of where your ankle ends and your foot starts to pan out. We don't have a long elongated foot like that. Did you see that? Did you really look at that thing's feet when it was crouched? That's not a human. That is not. I don't care what costume you put on. That is not the way a human's foot is supposed to bend like that or be that long. Are you fucking kidding me? You know what I'm saying? When you really looked at that thing's posture, the way it was moving side to side, how long that torso was, a person does not have a torso that goddamn long. And if you have a torso that long, your legs can't be that short. Your feet are not going to be that elongated, that long. Your hands, there's no way a human's hands could be that fucking long. I mean, the way that the jig, like, when you move, the way that your, how it looks when a person moves, the way your flesh, like, no, I'd say jiggles, like, jiggles, and when you, when you bob, when anything, you can just tell a human's motion. Like CGI looks different. You can tell when a human being, even a person in a costume, their movement's so fluid. If you watch how fluidly that thing was moving, and it had that awkward side to side, almost like a bird, how a bird waddles, that like an owl, almost like how an owl or birds kind of have that waddle to them, like because they're balancing a certain way, and then they're shifting their weight to counterbalance. And it looks clumsy, but it's actually graceful. It looks clumsy to a really untrained, unknowledgeable person thinks it looks clumsy, but it's really not. It's just the way they're just balancing themselves because they're being very deliberate in how they are moving. You know what I mean? That's what that is. And animals do that shit all the time. You know, which, like I said, an animal, not a human being. Whatever this thing is in that video. I do not think that was staged. I don't think that was a human being in a damn costume. Now, they have rake costumes and alien costumes and gray alien. They have all these stupid costumes. But I'd never seen no costume that looks like... I don't think it can be a costume. Because if you really look at it, if you watch it over and over, you start to notice that, like, it could just be the way it's looking because it's blurry, but it's like, how do you do it? Your ratios, this is the main thing. People have a certain type of ratio with their bones. There's no way that a person can have those type of ratios. That's not how a person is built. If a person is built like that, then they are a total freak. They need to be in a Guinness World Book of Records. They need to be a celebrity. You need to have like scientific tests done on you and about you, and need to be like researched heavily to understand why. If you actually are built like that, then you're, like I said, if you're technically human, then you are technically like not. Okay, it's just no, just not. Like, even the complexion, humans can, even the most albino person has more pigment than that. Humans are not void of pigment to that degree. That is not, no. Okay, so I have to say that I think that rake video is 100% real. You know, it's just no way, just nah. And the way the head is, if you really look at the eyes, and then like the way the head was shaped, no, fuck no, just no. Like I said, the shoulders, the way the long torso, you know what I mean? That's that, like, how do I describe it? That's that sort of like I'm trying to think of an animal I could compare it to. It kind of reminded me like how some apes are. You know how some apes, like I said, they have the long torso, the long arms, the short legs. This thing looked like its arms weren't that long, but proportionally to a person's no way a person's hands or arms are that long. There's no way that you have a short leg that short and then a foot that damn long. It's a damn near a hawk. You know what a hawk is? That's like what a dog or a goat or something has. You know, or what some apes, like chimps and gorillas, their feet are that long, like that at the end. You know what I mean? Like to where they have almost a hawk. Nah, bro. Just no. Just no. That is not a person, a costume. They don't make costumes with extra joints. I mean, they do, but it looks different because it's still a person's ratios trying to elongate certain parts to look like something. Whatever that was just clearly something else. But I don't know what, but something else. You know, and in my opinion, you know, you could say, oh, it's freaky, it's this, it's that. No, well, it is, but you have to admire the beauty that it is at the same time. That something is that what's the word? Designed for being in the wilderness. You know what I mean? You have to admire what it is. Like, it is so human, but at the same time it's so not human that it is clearly designed to live in wilderness places with terrain that is like not modern, you know what I mean? And it's odd because why would something be that pale? You have to really think of that. Like, why is it chalk, like literal chalk white, and then its eyes are like jet black? You know, you have to wonder like why. You know, you could clearly look at its hands and you could tell that it was dark at the tips. So there was some type of claw there. There, you know what I mean? It was clearly there were claws on his hands too. It's you know, if you really look at it, you can tell that. You know, you could tell. Like when a squirrel stands up on its hind legs and it folds its hand. That's the posture that thing had. You know what I mean? But it kept going between like doing that and then standing up a little taller, and its back was curved and hunched, and then it would sit down, and then it would slightly stand up again. You know, and it walked backwards at one point, and then at one point it went away, and then it came back again. So, but my whole point is this: is that you know, luckily, like the thing just left. It didn't get like aggressive, but it did leave. You know what I mean? But I say, at what expense, right? This is my point. At what expense? At the expense of now that, let's say, it's clear to them, because you know there's more. There's not just one. You know there's more of them. It's clear to them now that you have a clear disdain, fear, misunderstanding, and so on and so forth. Now, it's kind of like you fucked it up. It's like you fucked the relationship up. If there could have ever been one, you fucked it up. Now, I could be wrong, but in my opinion, what I think, and I think about the rake creature, or those type of entities, those pale things, pale crawler, freaky, gothic-looking things. Those things, I think that now some of them are really just vicious and stuff, but I think that some of them, like probably one like that, I think if you actually were calm enough to open that sun door, right? Let the creature walk in, because these creatures are actually known sometimes to literally touch people, like they'll put their hand on you or something, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really get why, but something they may do. If you were calm enough to let it in the sunroom, and you were to give it like food or something, or you were to maybe let it just like touch you or something, and then it would probably leave. And I'm pretty sure these things eat just like anyone eats. I'm pretty sure if you were to give it milk or water or vegetables or meat or something, or I'm pretty sure, or bread even, I'm pretty sure they already know what that is and they probably would eat it. I would assume. It probably would not harm you. I'm sure it probably wouldn't try to attack you or whatever. Because if it's that curious, usually when a being like that shows that much curiosity, they're simply just that. They are simply just being curious, or they simply just want to interact with a person, kind of like an animal or a child or something may just want to like try to communicate with another person, and then once they get bored or whatever, they just leave, they just walk off. I'm pretty sure that's what was going on. But the problem was this, I think because this guy said this thing would keep coming to his property at nighttime at a certain time, right? So obviously, like I said, it's curious. It keeps revisiting that area. Probably nothing negative would have happened, but what the problem, like I said, this is a problem. People like that, and this guy was looking for a Christian. Never, I'm telling you, never look for a Christian by any means. Do not think a Christian is going to know anything about anything when it comes to dealing with ETs, they're not. There's no way. Okay, they've already believed that things are demonic by default and evil and this and that by default, right? So it was literally a recipe for disaster. That's how I'll put it like this, right? Now that man is lucky. I think he's lucky that it wasn't like some really, well, I don't know how powerful this thing is, because you just don't know sometimes. Sometimes you can't tell by looking at the size and like whatever certain things. But I don't think the thing is that powerful anyway, physically. That one. But if it was some other type of thing, I don't know, he may not be that lucky. And I don't think like I always say this, I say like some of these creatures, they decide how important it is to like harm people and do, because I always say it's like sometimes people do go missing. They go missing. Like I said, some of these things, it would be very easy for them to just rip that door open, grab you, and take you from that area, and you will never be seen again. And there's no, especially, I don't think this guy had a firearm. I don't think he had, he just would have been assed out if it had been like that. So I don't think his video would have made it out there. He would have been gone. He would have been missing. And then there's literal people that have organizations and things set in place to where if you go missing because you got snatched up by one of these things, they will cover that up, right? You'll never, there will be no closure. No one will know. There will never be, if anything, they'll make up a story, maybe in the newspaper. It'll be said that like there was some violent crime, some person went missing because of this or that, and that'll be the end of it. And that's the end of that, man. So I'm just saying, I always say this, do not look for people that are unknowledgeable to try to help you with problems like that. Well, I mean, obviously you would, because some people are just stupid. Like I said, we live in still a very misinformed, very Christian world. We just do. People say, "Oh, well, no one's Christian anymore." What do you mean? We don't believe in that anymore. People just have their own beliefs, and no one believes that old like. No, you would be surprised how many people are still super Christian and still classically. You would be surprised. So, I'm just saying, don't be stupid, right? Like I always say, just throw everything you think you know out the window. Throw all that preconceived notion of like, oh, this is a monster, this is evil, this is that, throw all that. You have to throw all that shit out. All that shit has to go out the window, because none of that shit has really real validity. It's like, if you think that way, you're kind of entirely missing the point. It's like you're missing the entire point, and you're way, 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 way cold. You may think that you're warm, you may think you're hot, but you're cold at that point. You're way, 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 way off. And that's really what the point of this whole rant is, right? It's trying to tell you. Trying to tell you the truth. Like, it's not a black and white thing. There's gray area like anything else. So, I think I ranted enough. This is Steve's Art and Fun channel. And obviously, this channel has more rants, more videos. Now, there's a lot that I want to do with this channel, I'm going to say. But it's just going to take some time. Because I need a lot of people. I need to find certain specific people to do certain type of videos, but that's going to be in the future, right? That's in the future, hopefully near future, hopefully, but that's in the future. For now, I can't really do much with this channel, so if you do stumble across this video, like, sub, and definitely share it, and have a nice day.